Jay Sano without intro music. Jay Sano with intro music. Intro music remix. Jay Sano 19. Jay Sano 19. Jay Sano 19. Jay Sano 19. Hello everybody and welcome back. It is Jeff again coming to you from the Mindcrack server. And apparently people really liked, oh, I forgot my door does not work anymore. Apparently people really liked the, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm back. And apparently people really enjoyed me telling stories about my defunct town that I used to live in. Mainly Flint. Do I not have a button for this thing? Why can I not do this properly? Oh, because I took away that block. Huh. I'm so smart. So I have a button there. Hold on, I need to make one more button for the outside. But they liked the stories about the horrible place that I lived in and grew up in for the most part. So I figured, why not come back to you guys with another good old story about Flint while I work on getting some things done around here. I need to finish up part of the top of the hospital, and to do so I need more snow, and there we go. I just need this one. I'll take a couple of these guys for now. So I need to get over here and get some snow going again, and I still find this hilarious that the mobs have such a problem on this snow, but we are going to start by building another snowman. Arlington was blown up by a creeper. No. And encasing said snowman so he cannot escape. Like so. And then I'll be able to get lots of snow yet again. I just got to watch out because if it rains... Actually, you know what? That's why I had the ceiling on this thing before. Maybe I'll just do a mini ceiling on it and not a whole thing. I don't know how much protection he actually needs. I had encased it as well as to protect it from the rain, as well as to make it so it was safe from mobs. So I could harvest at night, but I don't need that much snow anymore. So this time I will just go like this. Threw all of that stuff down there. Well, that was dumb. There we go. So hopefully that'll protect him from... There we go. That'll protect from the rain. We'll find out, I guess. But another good story about Flint. So when I was in early college and going out to... you know, or finding good bars to go to. A buddy of ours turned us on to a bar that was literally 2 blocks away from his house. And it was a place that he had never really gone to in the first place when he had just moved in there, because it was... And he didn't get a house in the greatest neighborhood. It wasn't a horrible neighborhood. It was one of those ones that was getting a little bit better, but houses were still... Sorry, snowman. But houses were still cheap. So he purchased a house there, and it turned out, yeah, we had some problems there. Like one night I was at his house, stayed over there, he was having a party, and I came out in my car. One of the many times my car got broken into in that town was outside of his house. I mean, what are you going to do? Things like that happen. So not that big of a deal, but he never had anybody break into his house or anything like that, so... It wasn't a horrible place, but it wasn't the greatest place in the world. But he convinced us to go try this bar. There's actually a couple bar stories about bars that were right around the corner from his house. But the very first one that he had us go to was this place called Terry's Lounge. And I'll even tell you guys the name, because for one, the place doesn't even exist anymore. Coincidentally, it burned down shortly after I moved out to Washington, D.C. And if I recall, the owner of the place either went to jail or got in some trouble because it turned out it was arson for an insurance problem or something like that. I don't know all the details on it, but it was something along those lines. So it's, you know, one of those types of establishments. But they had a sign out front that said dollar pitchers Sundays and Mondays. So he's like, guys, let's go out here on a Sunday night. We all work together at a bingo hall. Or not all of us, but a couple of us did. Like my many years that I spent working at a bingo hall, I did spend a long time working there. But I worked with this guy, and the bingo was in the afternoon, so we got done around 6:30, 7 o'clock. He's like, let's head over there after bingo one night, check this place out, and see what these dollar pitchers really are all about, what kind of place this is. So we said, okay, you know, can't go wrong with dollar pitchers, no big deal, let's go check it out. So we go there, and this place has dollar pitchers, like real-sized pitchers. Anybody who goes to bars and gets pitchers knows what I'm talking about. That real-sized pitchers are important because some places get their cheap specials, and they're like those little half pitchers. But it was like pitchers at like Bud Light or Coors Light or something very simple. But it was a buck, and we were like, wow, this is pretty cool. But the first day we walked in, the place was completely empty. I mean, this place was, nobody was in there. We were the only ones in there. So the waitress came up to us right away because she was kind of like, oh, look, a group of people randomly walked in the door like at once. And this waitress, she ended up becoming a really good friend of ours. Not as in a friend that we hung out with at the bar. This woman was like late 40s, early 50s, something like that. She was like our bar mom, kind of. That's the strangest term in the world, but we had our bar mom. She took care of us and made sure, like, not only that we always had our drinks and things like that, but she would actually sit down and like lecture us on our lives and the problems that we were having. She would offer her advice and, you know, things like that. She was really cool. But so we go to this place and find out that this place is pretty cool. I guess I didn't need nearly as much snow as I thought when I had just started doing this. That's kind of weird. That this place is pretty cool, so we're going to continue to go here and check this place out for a while and see how it truly turns out to be. So we end up making this basically our regular go-to bar for a while. And throughout our time there, this place did have some normal, like, regular clientele that were there. We just happened to go on a Sunday night when nobody else was at the bar the very first time. And some of the normal clientele were people kind of like us, just out hanging out, wanting to find a good, cheap bar. And some of the local clientele were more like people that you didn't necessarily want to be considered your normal clientele because it might scare off other potential clientele. But we didn't care. We kind of tried to get along with everybody, and we were there in big enough groups of people that if anybody wanted to give us any problems, we didn't really think there'd be too big of an issue with it, which, you know, they're actually, for us, never was at this particular place. But this place was great because not only did they have, whoops, that was supposed to be a stare. Not only did they have this cheap beer, but they were one of the first bars in the area to get a huge projector screen TV. So they advertised a 10-foot television for like Sunday football. And, you know, in Michigan, if you go watch Sunday football, you go watch the Detroit Lions. So we were all happy because we got to go watch the Lions game because that's what we were there for and wanted to see. Except the one time that they randomly decided to have NASCAR on instead of the Lions game, which does occasionally happen in towns and bars like this. But, you know, we made do and ended up going to some other bar that day and then making sure that it was always a Lions game from then on out. But they also had metal dartboards in the corner that you could play for free. All you had to do was bring your own darts, and you were allowed to play absolutely free. Did I just stare at him? I did not. Yeah, you were allowed to play absolutely free, which not many bars around the area can say that they had free darts that you could play. So we used to go all the time, and we became pretty good, like, sharks at playing the darts. Like, we all definitely improved our dart skills over the next about 2 or 3 years that we spent going to this place on a regular basis. Yeah, we were those people, and we enjoyed it. But one day, we're at the bar. We'd become well established here. All the owners knew us. The owners really liked us. They used to, like, hook us up with drink specials when we would come in the door, just because we were some of their clients that never caused them any problems, always came, always paid, like never had any issues like that. So they really liked us being there. And one day we're there, we're getting sloshed on. God, it had to have been like, I think it was a Sunday afternoon. Like, I think we were there Sunday afternoon, and I was in college at the time. I didn't have early morning Monday classes, so the concept of being like, what are you doing on Sunday night out there? That's a whole different like story. It doesn't exist the same when you were in college. But we were playing darts. We just watched the football game. We were playing darts. I think we'd been there for like 4 or 5 hours, just drinking like dollar pitcher after dollar pitcher after dollar pitcher after dollar pitcher. I mean, just having a good old time. The place was pretty empty. There was probably only like 5 other people in the bar. And all of a sudden, we hear this yelling and screaming. And we looked over and watched this guy, because somebody had walked into the bar, and then they immediately, like, they started screaming and, like, ran back out the door. And we were like, what the hell is going on? And we looked back over to watch this dude come walking in the door again with like 2 or 3 other people. Actually came like running in the door, kicked this guy who was standing up by a jukebox, like square in the back. And from what we were told, they pulled guns on it, because we were so dumbfounded at that time, like, that this happened. We're like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden, like, there was a lot of commotion, and the owner of the bar flipped the lights on like really quick and started screaming, everybody get out. And we kind of like were sitting there, and they came up to us and they're like, hey guys, you're gonna have to leave, because by this time those people had left. And they said, you guys are gonna have to leave, we got to close down. And we were like, what is going on? They said, we've had problems with these people before many years ago. It's these 2 like rival gangs, not really gangs, but these 2 rival groups of people that are here. They've gotten in huge fights at this bar before, and they're actually banned from this place. We haven't seen them in a few years, but apparently they're back, and they coincidentally both came back on the same day and saw each other there. And I guess when this guy ran up to the dude at the jukebox, he ran up and he kicked him square in the back, and then he proceeded to pull a gun and run out the door. Like, didn't do anything. Like, we didn't see the whole gun part at this point, and we're just kind of like, okay, so they pulled guns, and they said, yeah, we're looking on the security camera right now. They're like out in the parking lot still, but you guys are gonna have to leave. We got to close down early because of this. So we're like, you're kicking us out of the bar, saying that there's people. Oh, I dropped my arrows off somewhere, didn't I? Yeah. Saying that there's people who had pulled guns on each other that are still out in the parking lot, and you're going to make us leave. But, we had been drinking, so we were like, whatever. Okay, we'll leave. Like, we'll follow suit. And we walked out the back door of the bar. Now, the thing is with this bar, there was a row of cars could park on one side of it. I got to get down and out of this, off of this roof, because I got nothing else to do up here. But there was a row of cars you could park on one side of it, like one little row. This is going to be painful. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Let me just take some damage. Get out of here. Okay. Good. So he doesn't want to blow up on my stuff. Is there anybody down here? There was not, but I'm going to have to take him out before he causes me problems. I should light up this lawn. I really should. Okay, he's dead. Back inside. Okay. Back in the safety of my house. So, essentially, I'm going to show you guys, like, let's say this snow, this represents the bar. There was a wall that went like this, kind of separating it from, it wasn't even the next building, it was like the residential neighborhood. So I guess this side was like a one of those about 5-foot high cement walls, and this side was actually just a fence separating it from like the neighborhood that went this way. And there was one row of parking that you could park on, like right here, so it fit about 5 or 6 cars up this strip and like 5 or 6 cars back this way. That was the only official parking at the bar. However, there was a road that went like right here. There was a road, and then there was a relatively large parking lot right here just on the street, and I mean relatively large, that it held probably like 30 cars in there. And I guess they had purchased the ability, or I don't know if they own the land or what, but they had a sign up here, and it was for Terry's Lounge parking, was allowed to park over there. So you either parked, if you were lucky, right here. This was like just the sidewalk. You could parallel park on the road, like right here, if there was any spots. But often we just park over in this parking lot over here, because it was just like a little teeny road, like a side street type of road. It wasn't a major road or anything, so we'd always park there. So this is the front of the place. We actually came out the back door over here, and that's usually where we would exit the bar at. And so we're like, okay, these guys, like, the two groups of people, the one guys had come running in the front door, did whatever they did up in the front, and they came back out the front door. These other guys that they were there with pretty immediately left, and they went out the back door and around. They jumped up and like started yelling to each other, and jumped up the five guys that were left in there, and they went around out this way somewhere. So we were in there for a couple more minutes, then we leave. So we start walking this direction, not having any idea where these people are at. So we start walking this direction toward our car, and we catch out up around the corner. We see a bunch of people just standing here in the middle of the street. And we look a little bit closer, and they're waving guns around. Not at us, but they're waving guns around up like this direction. So we start listening, and we hear the yelling back and forth. So we knew that there was people over here, and because we could see them, and we could also hear people yelling on this way. So we were standing there, and we're like, what the hell are we gonna do? And we come out, and we kind of are like, crap. So we turned around, we tried to go back in the bar, started knocking on the door, and of course they wouldn't let us back in, because they I don't know if they were thinking that we were like somebody else trying to get back in, like one of these groups trying to get back in. They said they had security cameras. Maybe they were just like hiding in the corner, who knows. So we kind of we're like, shit, what do we do? We don't know what to do. And we look, and I noticed this guy that's standing up in here, he looks over at us, and there's probably 6 or 7 of us walking out the door, and he looks over at us, and I am not kidding you when I say that he literally puts his hand out toward these people, not his gun hand, his other hand. He puts it out with his like palm facing them and kind of raises it in the air, and he goes, hold up, dudes, hold up. Let these people through. And we were standing there, and we were like, what did he just say? And all of a sudden, they backed up, and he signaled us like you do in a car when you're letting somebody else go in front of you. You know, you got the little hand wave thing going. He literally signals us to go, and we're standing there dumbfounded, but we have nowhere else to go at this time. So we're like, okay. And we kind of slowly walk, and we look, and there's like 5 or 6 people here. 5 or 6 people here, literally, like, pointing their guns at the ground. Like, you know, let these people through. They got nothing to do with this. So we're like, okay. And walked up here. Into the parking lot. It wasn't raised, but this is just like the parking lot area. So we're now over here in the parking lot, and we get in our car, and there's an exit up here, luckily, but my car happened to be parked this direction. So when we get in the car, I'm in the driver's seat now, and I'm looking at them, and they essentially were like, we get across, we get into our cars, and it was essentially like a street hockey game, and they were like, game on! They really didn't say game on, but that's pretty much what it felt like, because all of a sudden, guns are pointed at each other again, and I don't think that any shots were ever fired during this whole thing. I have no idea who these people were or what their beef was with each other. If it was even real, who knows? Maybe it was staged of some type, them people being stupid. Like, I have absolutely no clue. And they just kind of like, it was like one of those things, like people in Flint sometimes do have courtesy to people who have nothing to do with the beef that they have with each other. And we proceeded to start pulling out of the parking lot. And of course, there's a couple of our cars, because everybody wasn't fit in my car. I think we had 3 cars there total. We pull out of the parking lot, and I immediately, again, call 911. I should have learned my lesson, because this is post-knife fight story. I called 911, and other people must have called as well because of all this happening, and I get the 911 operator, who proceeds to say, are you sure there's guns? Did you actually see the gun? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, well, I guess we'll have to send somebody out. This is like the 4th call that we've had on this in the last couple of minutes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You've had 4 calls that people are having a gunfight in the middle of the street, And now you're going to act all reluctantly about if you should send the police out to investigate, which is exactly what the job of the police is supposed to be. And now my dad's a cop. So don't get me wrong, I have nothing but the utmost respect for police officers, but not necessarily the 911 operators who dispatch them. Or you know what? I can't even say that because there's a lot of great 911 operators out there. A lot of people at my fire station are 911 operators in Montgomery County, where I'm a firefighter at. So I can't say that. It's just I don't know if it was this particular time frame of all these issues or what was going on, but there's just seemed to be a lot of problems in Flint at the time. But I thought it was relatively entertaining that I happened to be in the middle, quote unquote, the middle of a gunfight. Because I don't even know if you could call it a gunfight because they didn't do anything. They just were showing them because, you know, that's what cool people do is they show their guns for power or something. But then, you know, no shots were fired. I didn't even hear about anything on the news with it the next day, so I'm sure nothing really happened. Or at the same time, there's shootings in Flint every day, so it probably just maybe wasn't something that made the headlines because they don't always make the headlines. I don't know. And you know, I say that and I sound callous when I say that, but it's true. There's shootings in Flint probably every single day. Back in this time frame, I'm sure there was shootings in Flint every single day. I can't say the same anymore, which is sad. It's sad. I love, you know, Michigan. I love where I grew up. I don't necessarily love downtown Flint, but I do definitely love where I grew up and would like it to be different because I don't want there to be shootings every day and things like that. But I was living in the middle of that time frame and just sharing the can't really say fun, but the exciting stories that I've had since I've been there. I've actually got another story related to Terry's Lounge as well. We really should have stopped going to this place. Based on the stories that I'm going to be saying, we definitely should have stopped going to this place. What did I just plant? Okay, I just planted regular seeds. But I will tell you that a different day. I just wanted to give you guys the satisfaction of having another Flint story while I was going to say I got some tedious work done, but I really didn't get that much work done. Basically, this hospital is almost done to the point where I'm going to do anything with it. I don't like the White Castle roof look that I had going on the other side. I don't mind the flat look. It looks okay. This side, I believe, also looks okay with it. Oh, I need to get this corner filled in, I believe. Or take that piece out. I'm not sure. Well, I guess you can't really tell that that's stairs from this particular direction, can you? Maybe I'll get a little overhang of stairs sticking out the other direction to kind of look like a small awning that sticks over the side. Not really sure. And I also do have to fix these trees. I like this palm tree. It's a little too symmetrical, but I like it. This one, I don't like this wood that's here. This one I liked okay. Definitely, I think I like the simplest one here. I bet you this one would look actually pretty good with just some fence posts if I had the fence posts here instead of this tree. But it'd be a pretty large one. But yeah, I definitely like the fence post palm tree mini thing. But either way, Flint Town Pride. I really do have it. B-dubs should understand. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.